The St. Louis Cardinals shock a Cy Young candidate, and why tonight will be a special night at the ballpark in Atlanta. This is Locked on Cardinals.
You are Locked on Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked on Cardinals, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Be sure to go ahead and give me a follow there on the old Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. That's at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast itself. We got our own Twitter account there as well at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're all over the place. You can find us. Shouldn't be difficult. And if you can't find us there, yeah, come on over to YouTube. We're there hanging out as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Last night, the Cardinals shocked the world. It was last night, and I saw this, and I wish I could find it because when I get an alert on my phone, some of them just go away. And I don't know why it is that way, but I could have sworn I saw that ESPN sent a notification that said last night the Cardinals had the biggest upset in baseball this year as far as what the betting odds were against them because of Spencer Strider and the Braves taking on the Cardinals. So last night they knock out one of the leaders in the NL Cy Young race before the end of the third inning. Just incredible stuff. It was another one of those where has this team been all season type of moments that make you believe that maybe, just maybe, this team isn't quite as far away from returning to their normal competitive selves in 2024. We're going to talk more about the game later on in the show. But first, I want to start with what's going to happen tonight at Truist Park in Atlanta as Adam Wainwright throws his final game in his home state of Georgia. The Brunswick native will take the hill one last time in Atlanta with a chance to help the Cardinals actually sweep arguably the best team in Major League Baseball. Record-wise, they are. They are the best team at 90-48, 2.5 games better than the Baltimore Orioles right now. And the Braves have been very, very good, but the Cardinals are just slugging right now. And they're getting just enough pitching to get it done. And Waino, who we know is winding down this fantastic 18-year career with these final starts over the next couple of weeks. And, although the season hasn't gone well for him or the Cardinals, tonight's going to be a special night for Adam Wainwright for sure. And it's one last chance to, face the Braves, his favorite team growing up, the team that drafted him in the first round, 29th overall in the year 2000, and then ended up trading him to the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2003, which was a big deal at the time because the Cardinals got Adam Wainwright, who was the youngest guy of all of them, Ray King, the reliever, left-hander, then Jason Marquis, who had a number of good years with St. Louis, for J.D. Drew, who, was one of those guys that was supposed to be a superstar. After Philly took him, goes back into the draft. Cardinals get him the next year. And he had a couple good years, but never quite lived up to what the expectations were for him. And then, of course, Eli Marrero, who we remember was a catcher and then was moved to the outfield. But J.D. Drew and Eli Marrero, much bigger names than what the Cardinals got in return, but it all worked out. The Cardinals ended up having a lot of success. And J.D. Drew, I don't think he played long in Atlanta at all, maybe a year. And then he was gone. So it worked out nicely for the Cardinals. Let's put it that way. Do we think Waino will get emotional in his last start in Georgia? Well, he did sit down with John Denton at MLB.com and talked about that a little bit, saying that, if I'm going to be honest, the only one I'm going to be emotional about is Busch Stadium. I love playing here, and I love coming to Atlanta, and I'll be sad to not come to these great parks anymore, but I'm okay with it. When he was asked about getting drafted by the Braves and then moving to St. Louis, Waino holds no ill feelings towards, the Atlanta franchise for that. In fact, he believes that if he never was traded, he never would have became the pitcher that he ended up becoming, saying that the Braves drafted me, which was amazing, but I got traded and I didn't have a choice in that. But it ended up being amazing for me. Since then, all the contracts I have signed have been my choice. And I didn't go anywhere because I wanted to be in St. Louis. I wanted to stay there, make a name there, and help our franchise, which I felt like I did most of the time. It's been a good partnership. Now, when asked if he ever thought about going to the Braves or anywhere else for that matter, he brought up when his idol as a kid, John Smoltz, actually became his teammate with the Cardinals back in 2009, telling Denton, I looked at Smoltz's locker and number 30, it just didn't look right. 30 is not number 29, and he should have been 29 and wearing the A on his shirt. I like when guys play with one team. And he's right. It was very odd to see John Smoltz in a Cardinal uniform. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool that we had John Smoltz on the St. Louis Cardinals at the time, part of the elite Atlanta pitching staffs over the years that dominated in the 90s and 2000s. But it certainly was a little bit odd when he came over. And I often joke with my friends who are Braves fans because when they bring up guys like John Smoltz, and I always say, oh, Cardinal legend, John Smoltz, but some fans forget that he was actually in a Cardinals uniform. They wrapped up his Hall of Fame career with St. Louis. And I actually remember the first game that he pitched with St. Louis, I believe it was against Pittsburgh, but dominated, like 9 Ks in 5 innings, had 7 in a row. It was incredible. We're like, oh, we got vintage John Smoltz here. And then things kind of went back to normal. He's 42 years old at the time, had already been off to Boston for a little bit that year. But when you bring up names like John Smoltz, it reminds me of a lot of the guys that ended up going to other teams at the end of their careers. And you're just kind of like, it just looks different. For the Cardinals, we've had a number of these guys that have showed up in St. Louis where, yeah, they were helping our franchise, but at the same time, they just look weird in the Cardinals uniform. Fernando Valenzuela is one that stands out to me. He looked weird in anything but a Dodgers uniform, right? But came over to St. Louis. Will Clark, remember? They got him, and he went off in the final month and a half of his career with the Cardinals. In fact, so much that the Cardinals tried to get him to come back, and he was like, nah, he's like, I'm done. But Will the Thrill, remember him as a Cardinal. Larry Walker coming over from Colorado. He was here for a couple years, so that made it seem a little less weird, but still not normal. Sean Dunston, longtime Cub. Eric Davis, longtime Red, came to the Cardinals. Chris Sabo from the Reds came over. Tom Hinkie, who was a longtime Blue Jay. Bobby Bonilla, who had a number of different jerseys. I'll always remember him as a Pirate, but he was here. Dennis Eckersley pitched a couple years here. I'll always remember him as an Oakland A. Tino Martinez, remember him? Came over from the Yankees, and things did not go well for him here. Lance Berkman, coming from the Astros. He went Astros, and then he went Yankees. I think that's where he was. And then came back to St. Louis, and of course, a huge piece of that World Series team. If you want to go back a few more years, Jim Cott. Bobby Bonds was another one, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a ton of them, but to have one major league uniform on your whole career, it's very, very rare. It just doesn't happen very often. And I know all of us Cardinal fans are extremely glad that Wainwright never got away at the end of his career and decided to stick it out in St. Louis. Now, he's still looking for that elusive career win, number 199. Could it happen tonight? I'd say no. Probably not, but he's coming off a pretty strong outing his last time out, and he actually had this last start because he was supposed to make it on Sunday in St. Louis, and I know a lot of people were upset that they moved Adam from that start because they had bought tickets to go see him pitch at Busch Stadium, which is a bummer, but they pushed him back so that he could have a little extra time to recover from his last start, so he should be fresh and ready to rock tonight. Mentally, I mean, I would imagine he's focused in front of the Georgia crowd in his career. 10-4, 3.42 ERA against the Braves, 4-1 at Turner Field, 1-1 at Truist Park in his career. So even had a complete game victory at Truist already. So we'll see what happens. The Cardinals have won 3 in a row. They've won 3 in a row. They'll go for the sweep of the Braves tonight. Could this be one of those magical nights that the baseball gods shine the light on one Adam Wainwright one last time in Atlanta? and shine it on the Cardinals as well. We'll find out, but I'll be tuned in. I hope you are too. We're going to do our weekly check-in on the X's. We traded a lot of people away at the trade deadline. We'll give you an update on how they're doing, plus a little look around the league as we start to move closer to the playoffs, and kind of update you on what's going on with the other divisions in Major League Baseball. We'll do that next on Locked On Cardinals. Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales, and we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon. That's going to hook you up with a 60-day free trial. Free is good. Free is good. And it's not like a free trial for like a week or so. 60 days. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Once again, that is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. linkedin.com/lockedon. Get started today. The Cardinals are in Atlanta tonight, going for the sweep. You got your broom ready? I don't. I feel like that always blows up in my face if I if I ever get cocky. So no broom for me. I do have the cool ugly old man winning shirt on though today. Again, I'm gonna have to wash this thing soon. I mean, that's 3 wins in a row. You can catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube, which is down below if you're watching there. And obviously, you can hit me up on Twitter with your feedback. Always welcome and encouraged. We're over a month from the trade deadline now, and the playoff chase definitely heating up, obviously, here in September. Things are getting tight in certain areas. So we're going to talk about some of the races here in just a moment. But first, let's check in on some of our old buddies and what they're doing for their new team since the Cardinals shipped them off to greener pastures. We're going to start in Texas, where the Rangers, they've been stumbling a little bit recently, and they just got like bashed by the Astros. What was it? Jose Abreu had like 7 RBIs against Max Scherzer last night, something crazy like that. But they lost 3 straight to the Astros, 7 of their last 10. They're now 3 games back in the AL West behind Houston and a half game back in the wild card. Jordan Montgomery got beat up by the Twins in his last time on the mound. That was back on September 2nd, where they got him for 6 runs and 7 hits, just 3 2/3 innings. Since the move, he's been good outside of that start. He's 2-1, 6 starts, has an ERA of 3.60. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you've got the alternate jerseys for the Rangers. Those are hideous. Those are nasty. I can't get on board with that. Chris Stratton pitched last night against Houston, gave up 1 run on 2 hits in an inning and a third. He's been really, really good since going to Texas. I mean, he was pretty good with St. Louis too. Steady guy, but kind of took it to that next level since going to the Rangers. 14 appearances, 2.08 ERA. So you'll take that. Baltimore has the second best record in the league, and Jack Flaherty hasn't exactly contributed all that much to that. Been roughed up a few times so far. His last outing was back on the 3rd against Arizona, 4 2/3 innings, 4 runs on 6 hits, 2 of those home runs. Did have 7 strikeouts. Got a no decision in that one, but he's 1-2 with an ERA of 6.66. The Devil's number since the trade, and the O's are 2-3 in games that he's pitched thus far. Moving on to the Blue Jays, who have won 6 of their last 10, currently sit in the 3rd wild card spot. And Jordan Hicks, first one up here, hasn't given up a run in his last 4 appearances overall. 2-2, 3.46 ERA since the trade. Solid stuff. Genesis Cabrera, we've been talking about how amazing he's been since going to Toronto. Finally gave up an earned run and blew a save on September 1st against Colorado, but he has been money since heading north. 21 appearances for the Blue Jays. 1-0, ERA 0.46, and only 2 walks. 2 walks in 21 appearances. What Cabrera is that? I don't remember ever seeing that in a Cardinal uniform. They figured out something with him. They figured out something. Paul DeYoung, once again, now with the San Francisco Giants. Toronto released him. Giants picked him up. They are 2.5 back in the wild card. Paulie D had a couple of hits last night at Wrigley against the Cubs. We know he loves to hit at Wrigley Field. It was amazing with the Cardinals hitting there. Had a double last night, but hitting 158, 1 home run, 5 RBIs since joining the Giants. The strikeouts, they continue to pile up for Paulie D. 16 of them in 38 at-bats with San Francisco. Had 18 and 44 with Toronto. Not great. That's not going to help your numbers any. OPS plus with Toronto was a minus 62. With the Giants, he's just at 12 right now. So hopefully better days for Paul DeYoung moving forward. Although Brandon Crawford did come back off the IL. So I don't know how much playing time he's going to see moving forward. But we wish him the best. We wish all of them the best. Overall in the league, you've got a couple of tight races, as I mentioned. We'll start in the NL Central, where the Brewers, who seemed like they were on fire for the longest time there, now are just a game and a half up on the Cubs. That's it. The Cubs are shocking everybody right now with their resilience. They've been in a roll recently, and what an upset that would be if the Cubs were able to come back from where they were earlier this year. They decide not to make really any moves, keep everybody, and if they can catch Milwaukee, wow. The Cody Bellinger pickup has been a monster for them. Justin Steele, 16 wins. Well, unbelievable, right? And the NL wildcard, the Marlins have won 6 in a row. They lead the Reds by a game and a half for the third spot. Excuse me. With the Cubs and Phillies taking the other 2 wildcard spots. Over the American League, you got the Orioles up on the Rays by 3.5 in the AL East. The Astros up on the Mariners by a game in the AL West. In the Central, the Twins got a 6-game lead over Cleveland. In the wild card, the Blue Jays lead the Rangers by a half game for that third spot, with Tampa Bay and Seattle hanging on to the other 2. As for the Cardinals, well, elimination numbers is what we're looking at now. In the wild card, their elimination numbers at 13. In the division, it's 8. But don't tell the Braves that. Don't tell the Braves that. And don't tell the Cardinals that either, because they thumped Atlanta again last night. The Redbirds coming out just ripping. And we're going to talk about that game next, because it was a fun one to watch. We'll do that next on Locked On Cardinals. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, and that is guaranteed, guys. Guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can be on everything from spreads to player props and a whole lot more. Really hundreds of ways, it seems like, to make money and make the games more interesting. You got Chiefs and Lions tonight. Travis Kelce hurt his knee earlier this week. Chris Jones still not playing for the Chiefs due to that contract dispute. Are they primed for the upset? You got the Lions coming off a very successful year last year. They've turned over their running back stable, which was a big piece of their offense last year. So DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, they're gone. Now you've got the rookie Jahmyr Gibbs. You've got David Montgomery, who's with the Bears last year. Can Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, can they keep the magic going and shock the world on opening night of the NFL? We'll find out. KC, at the time of this recording, favored by 4.5, but a lot of people thinking could be an upset tonight. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Cardinals in Atlanta to battle the Braves again tonight in the series finale, and then they'll be off to Cincinnati to face the Reds this weekend. You can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. So Spencer Strider, been one of the best pitchers in baseball since bursting onto the scene with the Braves last year. Came into last night's game 16-4, led the league in strikeouts by a wide margin. Odds were he and the Braves would dominate the Cardinals, no problem. But that's why they play the games. Last night, it was the Cardinals taking it to the Braves ace. Goldie rips a 2-run shot off him in the first inning. The Cardinals ended up playing 4 in that opening frame. They end up chasing Strider after just 2 2/3 innings, scoring 6 runs on 6 hits off one of the leading NL Cy Young Award candidates this year. Mason Wynn. How about Mason Wynn getting his first major league home run last night? That was nice. And yes, he did get the ball back, in case you're wondering. Wilson Contreras pops home run number 17. He's trying to get to 20 this year. Does that in the 7th inning. And then things got a little bit tight later on, and that's when Nolan Gorman stepped up and mashed his 27th of the year. He's chasing 30 bombs this season, and looks like he's going to get it. 3-run shot to put the game away in that 8th inning. To go along with the 4 home runs, the shocking part, the Cardinals stole 5 bases last night. 5. First time that's happened since September 12th of 2019 at Colorado. It was the 4th time that they reached those totals in the same game in franchise history. And it had a lot of us on social media saying, who are these guys? What are we doing here? But it worked out brilliantly. It was a lot of fun to watch. And I hope that heading into next year, this is the mindset that the Cardinals have, where they're playing more aggressively. They're running more. They're doing things, keeping things in motion instead of doing that station to station crap, waiting for home runs to happen. No, make the offense happen. Put the other team's defense on their heels. Like, make them have to get you out. Like, don't just stand around. I loved it last night. I had a blast watching that one. And I'll say it again. Even if the Braves had come back and won last night, I would have said, this is the kind of Cardinals team I want to watch in 2024. Dakota Hudson was strong through 5, allowing 2 runs before he kind of ran out of gas there in the 6th inning. But it was enough to pick up his 6th win of the season. Casey Lawrence, how about this guy? Nobody even knows who this dude is. Comes in, bases loaded. Nobody out in the 6th inning. Able to limit the damage to just 2 runs, and kind of unlucky, kind of a fluky hit. Michael Harris had that ground ball with eyes that just found a hole and snuck through the infield, but gets Acuna to ground into an inning-ending double play to squash the threat. Hell of a job right there. Cardinals go on to win it 11-6, and according to Rob Raines at STLSportsPage.com, this was the 2nd time in franchise history the Cardinals hit 4 or more home runs in consecutive games in Atlanta, having previously done it in a doubleheader back on July 6th in 1979. The last time the Cardinals scored 10 or more runs in consecutive games in Atlanta was April 9th and 10th of 2016. And the last time they hit 4 or more home runs in consecutive games was September 18th and 19th of 2002 at Colorado, which, doesn't surprise you too much. But the offense, man, the ripping Redbirds. Keep it up, boys. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast for the finale tonight against the Braves with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Adam Wainwright, last time on a mound in Atlanta against Max Fried, 6-1 on the year. Just carved up the Dodgers the last time he was on the mound. He threw 7 shutout innings. He struck out 10. One of the best left-handers in the league. Not going to be easy, but the last 2 games weren't supposed to be easy, and the Cardinals came out and got it done. So we'll see what happens tonight. First pitch, 6:20 St. Louis time. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube to help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.